Live at TFNN, the Power Trading Hour, with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, squeezably soft host, David White. And we've got a few technical difficulties. We'll try to iron them out as we do the show. In the meantime, we've got a market that is somewhat interesting. But because of my technical difficulties, we are going to have to wait until I log it back in and get everything back and fired up. And I can't type and talk at the same time. I can walk and chew gum, but I can't type and do the same thing. Anyway, when we're looking at the S&P cash, we were off 5 points on the S&P cash, of course, the aforementioned S&P cash. 1 point, we're short, 1 point short of 1.6 billion shares. So it is a fairly quiet day for 2 p.m. We should, even on a day on a Tuesday like this, should start seeing some volume. We did try to push that 1938 level once again in the cash, and we are drifting down slower. Options today suggest that we should expire somewhere between 1915, 1920. But that's fairly, you could probably add 20 points on either side of that. Option market makers are making this a fairly wide one. They've cut off a little bit of the downside, but I would not be surprised to see 1900 on the S&P cash before the week is out. Maybe we bounce on Friday or something into that 1920. But it certainly looks like there's no buyers. There's a lot of people that will buy every dip. But as soon as we go to unchanged on the day, the volume absolutely dies. We saw that yesterday as we pushed back up, and it is fairly interesting. Anyway, we're going to be talking about a wide variety of things today, and maybe we'll get our charts up and working here before the end of the show. On this day in 1981, it was a day that would live in history, and take me a couple of years to get around to it. The PC hits the mainstream. IBM introduces its personal computer, which for a list price of $12.65 comes with a whopping 16 kilobytes of user memory and 40 kilobytes of ROM with Microsoft Basic. And, of course, anybody that listens to this show knows that I started building off on the Altair 8080s. And that was, 1976 or 1977, something like that. And, it was quite interesting time. But I had as much memory as they had coming out the thing, because my grandmother loved to sew. And back then, if you didn't have memory in a chip, it was a little tiny magnetic donut about the size of a pencil lead. And you'd loom these things up, and the little thing would either hold a charge or hold magnetism or not. And that's how memory, one bit at a time, was put together. But my grandma, I think she did about 4K. She could loom about 4K of memory per day. For just $90 more, you could expand the memory by another whole 16 kilobytes. Of course, my grandmother made some decent money weaving memory for all my friends in the computer club. But interesting. But in this day in 1981, of course, that was also the real start of Microsoft, when in a hurry and being blown off by some competitors to Microsoft at the time, didn't want anything to do with Microsoft, ended up making an accidental empire. If you want to read the whole story, there is a book from Kringley called Accidental Empires. And I recommend it highly if you are going to be a technology investor. So many of these things are accidents and not for purpose that we want to canonize a lot of these venture capitalist guys And a lot of times they just kind of veer into what they're doing. It wasn't a lot of conscious effort, at least in the beginning of the tech revolution. But I digress. Of course, our markets are not culminating one grand blaze of glory. They are trying to give everybody a little bit of something out there for the bulls and for the bears. And I still think we're in that second phase where the truth of a high in this market is being violently opposed. And it is a mad market. It is kind of an interesting day. I know everybody's going to be talking about Robin Williams. And interestingly enough, I kind of looked at it more of a deal where his best friend for years was, oh God, what's his name? He's in a mad world. Yeah, I'm having a mental blank right now. I'll have to think about it. In fact, since no one's looking here today, I can actually look it up. Mad world. And remember his name? It's Mad World TV series. There was a TV series about it. It's a Mad World. Boy. Jonathan Winters. There it is. Jonathan Winters. Anyway, Jonathan Winters also had big problems with depression. And just thinking about how good friends the two were, maybe there was a lot more to that friendship than we saw. But, of course, Jonathan Winters passed last year. And somehow I have a feeling that you get these people that are comedians, the ones I've met, deeply dark for the most part. Maybe it is that sad clown face upon what most people are looking. But Jonathan Winters, who suffered with basically the same kind of things, seemed to do a little bit better with it. But depression and alcohol just don't mix. And, of course, his recent television show had been canceled. But I digress. Anyway, we're going to start looking at some of these other markets that are moving out here today. And we'll start with that. Maybe we can do that right now. I did want to talk about one thing I have here. And since you can't really look at it, I will try to describe it. There was a stock, and I warned everybody about it when it came out. If I was an attorney general, I would probably try to figure out how I could charge these folks with something, anything. I brought it up a couple times in the last week. But if you want to look at a chart, you want to look at CZR, and it's coming down here and breaking some new lows. Let's go back here a little bit farther. Is that it? Okay. This thing came public last year at about $16. Actually, let's take a look at here when it came. 8/12/2013. So, yeah, almost a year ago. Closing. Well, actually, yeah, it is. 1 year ago. Hey, how about that? Caesars Entertainment. I railed against this as a maybe they can't find a way to make a fraud case against these people, but they ought to. This was a stock that went public with less than 5% of all the shares. It is called a sliver deal. In a sliver deal, they do that. They put out a sliver of the shares, and, of course, they prop it up for a number of months and get everybody used to the price. And, I mean, that's got to be the price. It's set there. And then they slowly dole out more shares. You can do a couple of things. You can prop up a stock. You can go back and do some other things. But if you get a price set with only 5% of the shares tradable, then, there's got to be some kind of justification for the next 95% eventually hitting the market. This is Caesars Entertainment, and maybe they just thought that they could, that everybody's money is theirs no matter what. But this should have been one red flag. But when you're looking at a lot of these new IPOs, and we're seeing a lot of them get smacked around, A lot of them were just slightly less vivid shades of gray out here. Whether you have 50% of the shares left outstanding or 20% of the shares, or in this case, less than 5%. I think it was, I'm going to have to go back and look at it tonight, but I think it was 3%. You have to look and see what is going to come out of those shares once they become publicly available. This thing actually gave you a really decent signal. I tried to short it, and of course, there were so few shares that for the most part, I bet if you went back and looked at it, maybe there was some operator, who knows if it was the company themselves or anybody attached to it, that were trading these shares to each other to keep the price up. Anyway, this thing did test the September 11th, 2013 high, $26.57, 2.5 million shares with, went above it by 20 cents, 920,000 shares. So less than half, way less than half. This thing's been in a big ABC down since then, and now it is breaking out the lows. And guess what? It's going to continue breaking out the lows. There's not a lot of great news to be had for those Las Vegas casinos. Of course, everybody wants to be in the ones where people throw cash around like it's 1929. Oh, what is that? What does that year sound familiar? But of course, in Asia and in Macau, but not so much love over here. I think they've severely overbuilt. And maybe Andy Heck can talk about this tonight, since he is a Las Vegas native. Maybe I'll ask him about it. But it is one of those stocks that I think the writing was on the wall at the IPO. We've talked about Angie's List that never made any money in 15 years. Suddenly they're going to go public. What is that? ANGI, I think. ANGI. Take a look at that. Yeah, this thing's auguring in down around $8 out here. So not a great deal to look at there either. But these stocks that are not making money, that are thinly traded, are the prime example of what happens in a market when someone wants to push paper out. That is, the stock market is not here to make you rich, and they'll try everything they can in the book. There was a big enforcement about sliver deals, in which case a lot of those .coms were just that, and they boosted stock up and did it, and was really frowned on, but the laws kind of faded away. Anyway, we'll be back in just a minute.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Wouldn't it be great if you could get a red light, green light indicator that gives you signals on 25 different future contracts? Now you can with Taz Signal Box. This red light, green light market profile system dynamically updates 24 hours a day and provides you with important trend and trade signals on 9 different commodities, 9 different indices, and 8 different currencies. Right now, you can receive a free 2-week trial to Taz Signal Box. For all the details and to find out how the Signal Box works, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Andy Heck's powerful weekly newsletter, the Technomental Commodity Report, has delivered multiple triple-digit winning trades in recent months. And right now's the perfect time to get a full month-long trial to Andy's newsletter with no obligation to pay anything. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Technamental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you'll lock in the low rate of only $59 a month. Sign up right now for the Technamental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
You've always taken the long view when it comes to investing, but what if there's an opportunity right under your nose? What if you could be more responsive to market trends to seek to boost your portfolio performance right now while seeking to reduce your overall risk? At Direction Funds, we connect investors with alternative strategies that seek to maximize their returns. Smart investors deserve smart alternatives. Find yours at directionfunds.com. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risk charges, and expenses of Direction Funds carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Funds. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact the Direction Funds at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. Investing in index funds may be more volatile than investing in broadly diversified funds. Distributed by Rafferty Capital Markets, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And we're back here. Just a second while I'm trying to figure out our technical difficulty. Edit site list. Okay. I'm sitting here fixing something while we're on the air. Okay, and we'll figure this out here. There it is. Okay. And we're doing this. Okay, and that. .net. Add. Okay. Okay. And save. And nothing. Guess it wasn't meant to be today. Just another day in paradise here with nothing working. Anyway, it's a Java issue apparently, but maybe we can look at it. Maybe if I close it and then restart it, this thing will work. Okay. Do we have it? Run? No. Something else here. Yeah, that's not it either. Oh, well. Into each life some rain must fall. And what do we have? Just a wonderful show. Full of excitement. Anyway, we'll get back to this. Well, let's go back and look at the market real quick. As we look at 1930, so we're off at 6 points on the S&P cash, off another point, but not a lot happening out here. 1.65 billion shares. So volume is still incredibly light out here. Probably going to get into the end of the day before we start seeing what's going on. Now, some of the stocks that I'm looking at are going to be rather interesting. Let's see if I get my swing points up here and redraw the chart. One of the ones that I was looking at is kind of a light volume stock out here, but I do find it interesting, and that's RCPT. This stock is Receptos. Is a clinical stage biopharmaceutical company focusing on discovery and development and commercialization of various therapeutics for immune disorders. This one coming up here with a light volume today up to the 45.29 area. That is testing the July 2nd low. But so many of these light volume pharmaceutical companies look like they're coming back in it, and this was just one that did it today. Another one that has caught my eye, I spy with my little eye, is Newmont Mining. What you want to be looking at in this one is that this breaking into the high 25s and low 26s has had resistance before. Newmont having a little bit of news out here, but what they don't have is any volume. You wanted to see the highest volume to the left-hand side of the chart, and even the lowest volume on the left-hand side of the chart, which had been the January 24th high at 10 million shares at 25.65. As this thing broke through, you'd like to see that kind of volume. Less conservative, you could use the 15 million share on March 17th, $26.37, but 15 million shares, or the one where it went even higher over that with 12 million shares, $26.50. With 12 million shares on April 25th. As we look into that one, this thing's breaking it with 5.6 million shares. So any way you look at it, this thing is probably going to come up at least 2 million, maybe 2.5 million shares. So some of these miners, I think, may be bucking the trend of gold itself. Murphy USA, this is a stock I think we brought up a couple days ago. But one of the things we were talking about is how this is like a gas convenience store chain, not all over the country, but kind of sometimes I think they are under the working man banner, so they tend to have discount gasoline. I was pointing out how a lot of these companies, in fact, I think I paid $3.08 for regular today. June 29th, when you see that high, it's 52.73 with 500,000 shares. Got into it with 330,000 shares August 11th, and solidly back in there. A little doji out here today. But we'll take a look at it when we come back.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target and stop price of each stock in option trade. With market insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN, and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now.
No matter where you listen to TFNN programming, we want you to know you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones and iPads, located at the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a mobile connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all of our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and radio call and talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com, educating investors. This segment is brought to you by Harmony Gold. For more information, just click the Harmony Gold banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Anyway, as we come back, Murphy USA, we were talking about this a few days ago, and pretty good indication that we're seeing a top in here. I was saying that I paid $3.08 a gallon this morning, so it's getting awful close to that $3 price point. And of course, when we look at, let's see if I can get a quote out here. Got another screen over here to the side of me. I don't see anything else. Oh, Brent crude off of $1.74, which is what I wanted to see out here. But continuing to move down, I think actually West Texas is probably more apropos. But I think that's probably, we could see low 80s in that. But I'm looking for 92 right now. And I think we're well on the way out here. AGN is another one we could look at. And that is Allergen. Now, Allergen is kind of an interesting company out here, at least to me, mostly because this thing has some rather big gaps. This one right now is at that level, and maybe some of the rest of the biotechs are coming back into some of these big pops. The one on Allergen, AGN is the symbol on that. The pop was $4 on April 22nd. And that had 32.4 million shares. We're back in there, and what do we have today? 1.7 million shares. So some of these things are finding fairly vicious support levels, while the rest of the market is showing rather widespread weakness. And it is that way. Anyway, 1928 on the S&P cash, 1.7 billion shares. So volume continuing to be light as we come back down. My guess is that we're probably looking to come back down and test 1900 before we get away from expiration week. Right now, options would say something like 1915, 1920, but that continues to move, a moving target. 1.71 billion shares. Anyway, we're going to keep an eye on this and just look at a few other stocks since we are breaking at least the day lows out here and seeing how we're moving back in. Okay. Wanted to look at Tesla next, TSLA. Now, they had a little bit of bad news out here, and they've given a valid sell signal. I know that some of the people that have been around TFNN have been talking about shorting Tesla. Of course, it's got an incredibly high short rate, but it is given the, well, I'm going to say given the signal. It has come close to giving the signal. When you have such a high short interest rate as Tesla does, you want it to actually bust the previous high. That high was February 26 at 265, 24 million shares, and yesterday we had 8.1 million shares. Today, 4.8 so far. When we look at this, the energy to the downside, down to the 184.32 low from April 15th, had a little spike, went below it with higher volume. So if you're looking at the charts out here, that May 9th low at 177.22 with 20 million shares certainly qualifies as a high volume low. And you would say that the trading range is between 265 and 177.22. But what I will say is this is expiration week. A lot of people are buying options on this. My guess is the option market maker is going to do everything they can to keep the stock up. Probably Monday or Tuesday, if you really thought about it, and even looking at the short interest rate, decided that you wanted to short this, my guess is that you're looking for some kind of spike through this high. I'd probably look at 2 or 3 standard deviations for where this would stop, even with a slight volume. So normally you'd say, 265 goes above it, closes back below it. My guess is that you're probably looking at about 280 on this one, and at 280, there'll be 1 million shares or 500,000 shares or just absolute vapor. There'll be dust for volume. Dust would love to have that kind of volume. And at that point, you're going to have all the courage and all the courage to pull the trigger up there when it looks like this stock won't stop. Today they had bad news from Consumer Reports, basically talking about a lot of the little stuff on the car, that it had a blue screen of death event. And they basically had to tow the car back and reset the computer in it because it's totally run by a computer. A little bit more of a problem than most people would think, especially given the problems with General Motors and their keys these days. But looking up here, you're basically into that candle. And could this stock fail at any time? The answer is always yes. Just that it's this short, I would demand that this thing broke 265 before I ever said it, just because of the short interest. And tomorrow there'll be 20 new PR stories coming out about this thing and 20 new upgrades. In fact, there was an upgrade yesterday that caused a little gap, and kind of self-serving upgrade. My guess is, of course, I am a conspiracy theory when it comes into expiration week, but I'm pretty sure that someone made a call and said, hey, we need a little help, and someone gave a little help, and that's the way these things work. But, with the little juice out here and the market pulling back, not uncommon to see the most bloated of stocks continue to go up, and you're going to funnel down to the last few stocks where the people will truly drink all the Kool-Aid. If you were looking at my chart today on Tesla. In fact, since we don't have video today, if you want, you can email me at path@tfnn.com. And this is one chart I would want to show you. And that is just the huge energy from the November 26th low at 116.10 up to the 265 high at February 26th. Had huge energy and huge volume. When you come back over here on the right-hand side of the chart, you can see the pretty big lack of that. This thing had 3 big drives to a top. It also has 3 gaps to fill on the way back down. So, in fact, a lot of these stocks like that These big bloated ones are up here with very light volume. The other one we probably want to look at is Netflix. Netflix made a high with higher volume, so we can assume that this 475.87 is also going to get tested. That's the June 2nd high. That had 5.4 million shares the day before that, so that's what I'm going to use for that. It was within 0.5% of the top, which is what these charts show that I'm showing you today. So could you get back in it? I mean, we did get into that candle yesterday, and that candle, we had 1.9 million shares. When you're less than 50% of the volume, just like Tesla, you would love to see this thing go back up there and hit it just because it's highly shorted stock. May not get the chance. You got light volume down here, but my guess is if you're going to see another 20 upgrades, are going to happen in the next couple of days as the options expire on this one. And if you were thinking about shorting it, maybe Monday or Tuesday, but you'd love to see this thing break that 475, see very, very light volume, maybe like we're seeing in the last couple of days, 1.8 million. You had 3.9 million on the 7th. And that at least got this thing up to holding it. But a fairly good indication that these stocks, Netflix, Tesla, I call them the Mount Rushmore of the bloated, are up here. And other, SCTY, another 30% short interest stock out here. When we're looking at these, let's see if I've got anything. 6 months, 3 months. Oh. Now I figured out what I was doing wrong. Okay. The 13 million share spike failed to hold the volume on the 8th of Solar City, SCTY. The June 2nd high out here, $76.06. Went through it with double the volume but could not hold it. That tells you that, at least on this one, you would hope that you got another stab at this thing with light volume back up to $79.40. I think we may see a spike in some of these, even though they're going to be weak over the next few days. I wanted to go back to some of the stocks of the last few days that we were watching. We were talking about Dix, and a lot of these stocks have made lows with a light volume. I look at both the stocks that are busting out at highs with light volume and trying to bust out the lows on light volume. And if you're going to get a sense of the market, you would love to see these particular stocks breaking those lows with light volume, giving you an idea that there was something. But after they do that, you want to start seeing volume come back in. And looking at Dick's Sporting Goods, DKS, the symbol on this one, you had a big low back here on May 28th with 8.5 million shares at $42.33. Got into it on August 8th, the lowest low out here with 3.2 million shares. So 50% less. Good bet that you're going to get at least some kind of bounce out of here. I normally would give these stocks 3 days, so you have one more day. But even today on Dick's Sporting Goods, 885,000 shares so far. You're just not getting the kind of volume that you would love to see on this. So anyway, what else? Franco Nevada. We were talking about how these miners look weak. Got another opportunity to try to break through these highs. The June 10th high on Franco Nevada, FNV, he said. July 10th, $60.45, 1.1 million shares. And August 12th, we've got 375,000 shares. You're going to get yet another sell signal on this thing with it closed below $60.45. So what do we have here? And this is a little above it right now, but we'll have to see how this thing closes. And, of course, if it closed lower tomorrow, you'd also have a fairly good indication that you had a double top in Franco Nevada. We were talking also about finding stocks that had made lows but and come back into the gap ups that they had with big volume, but not a lot of volume. But you'd like to see the kind of carry through here in 3 days. And again, that's my thesis. I'm bearish. But if you want to see these stocks that are at least testing these gaps with lighter volumes, you want to see volume in a couple of days. Now, we saw GW Pharmaceuticals. This is the only legal pot company. They make, they're trying to make drugs out of it that would replace something like OxyContin that's deeply addictive with a marijuana-based one, THC. This thing took off on June 17th with a lot of volume, 3.6 million shares. Big pump by Kramer on CNBC. This thing's been back down to that gap area at about $80, a little bit less, twice. The first time, 731,000 shares. Again on the 8th with 383,000 shares. And, of course, you had a nice pop yesterday. Volume did pick up to 1.4 million shares. You would have wanted to see, you know, some kind of continuation in that today. And my guess is that if we're going to come back and make some kind of low, these stocks, if they can hold up, are the ones that we want to be watching when the market does base out. I'm looking at 1870 on the S&P cash for that level. So we will keep an eye on it. What was the other ones I was looking at? That was at least one of them. Ball was another one out here. This one, I think we wanted to look at a little longer. It had come back and pierced the previous low. This is one of those shipping companies. And this one had still no volume out here, which is kind of concerning. I'm looking at the October 31st low on this. BALT is the symbol, October 31st. $4.36, 1.6 million shares. Coming into it with July 31st, $4.41. So it was a nickel higher, but it was certainly into all those high volume lows back there at 1.6 million shares. So you know you're going to get a bounce. Now, after about 3 days, you should have seen some volume. Give it just a little bit more on the 11th. You had 475,000 shares. So when we're looking at this one and telling the story of the volume, you wanted to see maybe a couple of 3 days of a sign of strength. Big candles, lots of volume, buy the pullback or something. But not so much in the way of a big volume day over the last few days. So a lot of these that have hit lows or come into lows, not really jumping up or down on the way these things are acting. We also talked about CoreLogic. Wanted to see this thing bounce. This one symbol is CLGX. When we look at this one, you want to look at the April 29th low, $26.58, 4.3 million shares, 460,000 shares on August 8th. And it's gone below it, closed back above it. So you have basically a low signal out here, but just 2 days out here and the thing's still pulling back down. This is how I have a bearish case on the market right now. These ones should bounce, and they are not. And we can go through a few more of these out here, but fairly bearish out here. We'll be back in a minute.
Daryl Martin coined the phrase diagnostic trading, and we're happy to announce that his diagnostic box spread analyzer has finally been released. The Diagnostic Box Spread Analyzer helps you easily identify the best box spreads on Nadex in seconds, plus you receive access to the diagnostic deviation levels, as well as step-by-step training videos teaching you how to trade Nadex spreads so you can quickly master the mechanics of this simple yet powerful trading instrument. By pulling live data from the Nadex exchange, the Diagnostic Box Spread Analyzer does all the math for you, calculating risk, reward potential, distance to break even for both outright spreads and spreads used to hedge the underlying market. Visit the front page of TFNN.com today to get your 2-week free trial to Daryl Martin's Diagnostic Box Spread Analyzer and gain access to the valuable information it can provide when trading the Nadex box spreads.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
We're told to follow our passion and everything else will fall into place. I hope that's what each of you are doing each and every day. Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Money Master Show at TFNN.com, and my passion for technical analysis is what led me to the most fundamental discovery in pattern recognition, the Rhodes Momentum Indicator, market scanner, and trading strategy, a set of tools that identify the momentum and power of the trend, the likes of which have never been seen before, for every market and every time frame. Yes, folks, the trend is your friend, unless you're on the other side. New to technical analysis? This is the place to start. And experienced traders, take advantage of the trend like never before. Experience the power of the Rhodes Momentum Indicator each day, available to subscribers of my newsletter service, Mastering Probability. I guarantee your satisfaction for the next 30 days unconditionally, so there's no risk to you other than being on the wrong side of the trend. Mastering Probability, available on the homepage of TFNN.com. And folks, live with passion.
Catch Tom O'Brien, founder and CEO of TFNN, professional trader and educator. Also a special guest on CNBC, analyzing the commodity markets. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And we're going to look at a few of these stocks before the end of the day that are significantly moving. We talked about Millennial Media. Said that I thought this would be a very interesting stock if it could turn its fortunes around, but not such luck. It was going up against the May 8th low at $2.90 with 11 million shares, closing in on 9 million shares now. So we should be able to have at least equal volume out here. It got to 248, so it's broken the lows out here on earnings. One of the other stocks out here on earnings is Nuon, N-U-A-N, and this is the company that makes Dragon Easily Speaking and some of the other voice-to-text programs. This is one of the stocks that hasn't worked out for Carl Icahn. He put a pretty big amount into this. I don't know if he's out of it yet, but a huge gap down on earnings for this one. Looks like it's going to be headed to the $14.95 low that had 11 million shares. One of the reasons that we warn everybody here at TFNN to stay away from high volume lows is they get tested so much. But that's $14.95. We saw a low of $16.06 today. So still have another, $1.15 to go. And of course, on this one, the thing you really have to worry about is the November 26th low that had 64 million shares. And that is, it's pretty tough to go back out and hit that. So anyway, not good news for Nuance Communications. Let's see if there's anything else out here I wanted to look at. Let's look at the ones that did well. Track United. See if any of these stocks looked interesting. Swisher, SWSH. take a look at this stock. Swisher Hygiene. Yeah, can't really say that this thing's busting out anything exciting. Light volume. MTZ. My part. Boy, there's a lot of earnings out last night for a lot of stocks that you never heard of. Oh, Rackspace. I wanted to see how this thing ended up with the day. Of course, opened up a little higher than yesterday. Down, volume is picking up. It is filling the rest of this gap. That gap happened on May 16th with 28 million shares. This should pretty much be some fairly stiff resistance. Kind of surprised we got this far deep into this with the volume out here. 9.3 million shares so far today, 9.4. But you're going up against, what is that gap up? Yeah, 28 million shares on the 16th of May. That really sets the bar fairly high for support. But I'd be keeping an eye out on this one. I kind of like the way this thing came back on light volume, except this little day out here. Some of these stocks may have already given up most of their losses. We're probably going to see as the market heads back down, if it heads back down to the lows that I'm looking at finding some level of support for probably the minor and small cap stocks as the mid cap and large cap stocks start joining along as the S&P goes down lower. Anyway, we're off 6 points on the S&P cash. That is with 1.8 billion shares. So volume is light today. We did try to go over that 1938 one more time, so I'm going to give it kind of a mulligan today. We're going to look for volume, which I think is probably going to be very strong tomorrow, being Wednesday, and probably going to have volume Wednesday and Thursday. Look for a light volume move on Friday as expiration is coming in. Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow, same bat channel, same bat time.